Hello and welcome to our workshop on wealth and well-being, planning for a comfortable future. My name is Katrina Horn and I'm a whole of life coach, meaning I help my clients with all the 10 areas of their lives so that they can get clear on what it is they really want and, as I like to say, live their dream life. Let me hand over to Samantha so that she can present herself.
All right. Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are, or maybe even good evening. My name is Samantha Dutto. I actually live in the United States. I am originally from Italy. So you'll notice a little bit of an accent.
You're on mute.
What happened?
It just made a noise and your voice disappeared.
There we go. All right. So thank you, Carolyn. I'm a financial advisor here in the United States, and I take a holistic approach to financial planning. So I look at all aspects of somebody's life and help them with their specific dreams and goals, and help them make them a reality, so that finances are never a reason to say no in life. So
Thank you for that.
I'm excited.
Yes, I'm so excited that you're here too. If you are here live, then please go ahead and use the chat to ask questions or comments. So we're keeping an eye on the chat, but let me just tell you first of all what we're going to dive into. We've got 3 talking points. Number 1 being understanding the barriers to financial and personal success. Number 2 is we're going to have a look at how to overcome our irrational fears and limiting beliefs. And number 3 is about taking that aligned action that will actually get you the results you have been planning for. So implementing your vision and your wealth plan. So if you're ready, let's just go ahead and dive in. Lovely to see you, Bodil. Lovely.
Yes.
How fantastic. So first of all, let me just say that whether it's about life vision or wealth planning, we have made some unconscious decisions in our lives. We have been following some planning or guidelines from society, and we've been going through with patterns that we really haven't chosen, but we're just sort of unconsciously following. So wealth planning and life coaching can help us make those decisions conscious, and then make the conscious decisions that will actually have us live the life that we really want to live. So that's what we're going to take you through today. And I know, Samantha, that you've got 3 reasons that really block us from the financial success that we dream of, haven't you?
Right. Yes. And absolutely. And, as we get started, I think you'll see the parallel there is not only to the life coaching, but really to the financial coaching as being a subset of it. And, this is really, the way Katrina and I have planned this out today is really conversational, because I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to life, decisions and financial decisions, a lot of times we feel like we're talked to and not talked with. So we want to make sure that this was really, an environment where it's a, fun, easy conversation, and you feel, empowered to ask questions in the chat or at the end of our session. But in general, in my experience, what I found is that when people struggle financially, it's primarily for 3 reasons. The first one that kind of ties us back into the life planning and the life coaching is that we don't have a vision for our lives, and we don't have a plan for it. Right. So how many times, if you think about, there's a great example that I like to use is, when we're planning, a big event like a wedding or even a birthday party, right? We take the time and we map out, all the different steps to it. Here in the United States, the average wedding planning takes a year. Imagine that, a whole year to plan a wedding. That's the average. So you can imagine there's lots more that takes even longer than that. So think about And if we ask the average person here in the United States how long they plan for their financial life, for their retirement, for the big, the big day when we quit working, most of them it's a few hours, right? Or even never. So number one is not having that vision. What do you want your life to look like now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20, 30 years from now? So having that is, the key. Not having that is the key to not achieving our financial goals. The second has to do with information, right? Right now we have information everywhere, right? It's not like it used to be, where we'd had to go to the library or, go find, specific book or ask somebody. Now the information is everywhere. Still, one of the big blockers is information, and that is either not having the information or having the wrong information. And especially with the internet and social media, what I'm finding is the misinformation out there is a big, big problem. And then the third one, again, tying us back into the life coaching, is our limiting beliefs, right? How many times have we, even in our friendships, heard, I'm not good with money. My parents, were not good with money, hence I'm not good with money, right? Or we know of an experience of somebody else, and we take their experience and make it our own. So really, our limiting beliefs are one of the three reasons we see people struggle financially.
Yes, and that really brings me on to what I wanted to say about the limiting beliefs, because we move in a circle of friends, right? We've had family tradition handed down to us, and all of that has informed our financial decisions, or lack thereof, if I can say it like that. And I'm sure we can all think of stories we have about money. Like I used to have a story that I was irresponsible with money. And I think I know where that comes from, because when I was little, I, of course, for birthdays and Christmas, I would get money and I would put it in a piggy bank. And I didn't really see the point of all that money sitting in that piggy bank. So what I did was just collect money in the piggy bank. And then I went shopping with my dad and I saw this toy horse and I just thought, oh, this is brilliant. This is something I really want. And so I asked my dad, can I have it? And he said, well, you can buy it with your money in the piggy bank. And I thought, oh, that's what it's for. How brilliant, right? And so he told me, but once you buy that horse, you will have no money left. And I thought, oh, this sounds so serious. Like this sounds like something I want to avoid at all costs. But my desire for the horse was even bigger than that warning. And I think my dad, like many parents, they think, oh, we have to teach our children to be really serious around money and all of that. So of course his intention was to do well, but it left me with the idea that spending money was wicked or irresponsible, or you should hold on to it at any cost. And I'm sure you must see that with your clients, Samantha, that many of them have got these irrational limiting beliefs, right?
Right. Actually, it's funny. You inspired me to share a story that I like to share too. So, I was born and raised in Italy. So my grandparents Italian. My father's Italian, my grandparents Italian, and so forth. And we spent a lot of time with my grandparents. And my grandmother had this reputation of being the one that held the money. And, so we'd go, three grandkids, we'd go over there and she would give, every once in a while, it's like, oh, let me give you some money. And she'd just go away and you could hear her just rambling through things, et cetera, et cetera. And then she'd come out with all this money, like all bunched up, little put together. So, my dad would joke, oh, she's, nonna, we'd call nonna, hides the money. Well, fast forward, so we kind of knew that's what was happening. And I could kind of relate to it because I remember naturally doing the same thing. And then my grandmother, passed away. So my dad and my grandfather would, help clean up her things. And my father shared the story that as they were cleaning her things, they found money everywhere. Like everywhere. You know, obvious the obvious under the mattress, but in the pockets of coats and in the shoes and little bags. So they had to literally, it took them, you know, weeks and weeks because they had to sort through all the things, right, to find money that, you know, and she always lived frugally like she didn't have it. So I share this story because I didn't realize until that point how much I had started just naturally. You know, not, I had never seen her do it. I just kind of had an idea that she was doing it, but then naturally that I was doing the same thing. I have my, you know, as we call it in our house, you know, mom secret stashes. So much of how our innate behavior comes from, you know, what our family has done with money, how they treat money. And it could be, you know, a big barrier because it took me many years to realize, okay, as you said, you felt like the money was being wasted in the piggy bank. And there's, you know, there's the part of me that now realizes, yes, keeping your money, you know, hidden somewhere, just hidden, right, is not good for us. And because in the end, you know, it's not growing, it's not doing anything, it's just kind of losing its value. But then also the flip side, even if you start doing those things, how do you get from a space of saving it to actually spending it and enjoying it? And that is part of the work that I've started to really enjoy with my clients, because it's not all about the accumulation, right? It's what does money mean to you? And those are important conversations that I like to have, is what does money really mean to you? And what is it bringing you? It's not just something that it gives you. I mean, it's sure it gives you security, but are you enjoying that money? And how, you know, let's figure out how you would enjoy it. It's not the act of just spending, but spending it on things that bring value to you.
Yes, so good. So let me just sum up what you said. The three reasons are not having a vision, like not having a plan. And I can just link that to life coaching, really, because so many people just go through life without making any decisions or not thinking about what they would ideally want to experience in life. And that is really, really sad because, as you say, Samantha, if we've got a plan or if we've got a vision, well, then we've made something conscious, we've made conscious decisions, and then we can take action on those decisions. And the second reason you mentioned was that we don't have the information, right? There's so much information out there, you said so, but how do we become experts in all areas of our lives, right? That is just not possible. So we're really allowed to have help with this, right? And we're going to talk about that later. There is so much support to be had. Number 3, you said the limiting beliefs. And yeah, we have got our own peculiar relationship with money, but we've also got very many limiting beliefs about what we can experience in life. Because as I said, we are in a circle of friends, we are with family, and we just limit ourselves to what people around us do in life. We think, oh, this is what is available, and it's so difficult to see beyond that. So keeping that in mind, shall we just move on to what we wanted to say about our irrational fears, how to overcome them, and how to overcome the limiting beliefs? So I'm a big proponent of normalizing fear, because if we want to break out of what our circle of friends, of our family, like society shows us is possible for us, if we want to go beyond that, well, it's going to feel very scary. And that is normal. But there's fear, and then there's the fear we have about feeling the fear. So we sort of multiply the fear. But really, if we could be okay with feeling fear, then so much more becomes possible. I'm sure you'd agree with that, Samantha.
Absolutely. That's interesting. So what do you find, you know, because when we're in the middle of fear, it's real, right? But how long does fear really, the actual fear itself, last versus the idea of the fear, right? That's
Right.
really the thing that, okay.
Yes. So I'm all about feeling our emotions. Our emotions last 1.5 minutes. I mean, and an
Right.
emotion is a hormone in our body, or often a mixture of several hormones coursing around in our bodies, and they will disappear after 1.5 minutes. So we can go through an exercise where we can feel the fear and allow the fear to be there, but not react to it. So we are not adding a layer of fear onto the fear, because we are allowing it to be there. And the image I like to have of that is, it's okay for fear to be there. It's like I'm going on a road trip. I'm the driver. I'm in the driver's seat. Fear wants to come along, and that's okay. It can come along in the back seat, right? It's not in the driver's seat. So I know fear is there, but with my rational mind, I can really question if the fear is irrational or rational. So once I feel my fear, I can see how likely is it? How relevant is it? Should I listen to this fear? Or is it just that fear we all have when we do something we're not used to doing? Like for your client, Samantha, investing perhaps could be hugely fearful. For my clients, stepping out of their comfort zone and changing their habits can create also huge amounts of fear. So there's really a way of coming or being okay with feeling the fear, letting it be there, and doing what it is you want to do anyway. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I'm a living testament of that. So many things I've feared, like even speaking today, when I speak to people, it's, it's always an act of overcoming, the fear, taking the action. So absolutely.
Yes, I call that normalizing fear. And if we can just do a little 3-minute exercise together here, if you're on the replay, just close your eyes and be here with us. And if we can sort of imagine something we don't want to do because it makes us really scared. And if we can just bring that up in our minds so that it's really present for us, like I've just been on a biking trip across France, and there were some quite fearful moments. So I can really feel into that fear of what could happen. And when I try to locate that fear in my body, I can sort of recognize it. So maybe the fear you're connecting to is in your chest, in your shoulders, in your stomach, could be anywhere in your body. But if you just locate it in your body, once you've located it, you describe it. So you can see if it's got a color, if it's moving or if it's still. Is it thumbing? Is it hopping? Is it jumping? Is it darting around? Is it still? Is it pulsating? And then see if it's making a sound. Is it making a sound? And if so, what sound? What sound could that be making? And just hear the sound. Once you've heard the sound, ask yourself if it's got any sort of flavor or smell to it. Does anything come to mind? Is there a smell attached to it? And the more you get really, really clear on what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like, what it sounds like, the more you normalize it in your body. And once you've really normalized it, once you're really aware of where it is and what it's doing, it's sitting there, it's moving around, then start looking at if it's still as present, or if it isn't dissipating a little bit, if it isn't disappearing, perhaps evaporating. But if it isn't, that's okay too. So we just stay with that emotion, ideally for like 3 minutes. And when you're ready, you just come back and open your eyes and see if the fear, the feeling, the emotion is still there. how it feels now. And what you've done on a more scientific level here is that you have normalized the hormones of fear in your body so that your subconscious is not moving into fight or flight. It's just thinking, oh, this is quite normal, right? Okay, I can live with this. This is okay. It's okay to feel the fear. And that's an exercise you can always do. But what I also like to believe is that, well, we actually need to address the fear on an intellectual level, right? Because we don't want to be, in Samantha's case, investing in something that is really dubious, right? So we really want to filter our decisions through our intellect, but we want to be able to feel the emotion on a deeper level in our bodies, right?
Right. I'm glad you said that because to filter it through logic, because a lot of times even in my conversations there's a real fear as we're planning out, and this is planning out for the future, and we're making especially if it involves investing in something that we're not familiar with. We hear about it, the news likes to glamorize it up or down, good or bad. So we're constantly being thrown in the middle of irrational, thoughts and fears and excitement, et cetera, et cetera. So bringing it back to some, to a logical conversation is really helpful, because the one thing that I can bring is facts, is numbers, and really, helping that fear be normalized through history, through what has happened in the past, and how likely it is to play out in the future, and then really having the conversation that I'm sure you, Katrine, have quite a bit with your clients, and that is, where do you see yourself in a year, 5 years, 10 years, if you don't take action, if you remain the same, right? And after all, that is, in essence, that is the greatest risk we all take, on a financial point, from the financial side, not, investing, not, not saving, not investing, not protecting your loved ones, is the greatest risk of all, because in a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, then you find yourself not even in the same situation. Most of the time you'll find yourself in a worse situation.
Yes, and you're so right. You said that the biggest risk is not taking any action. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No, please go, because I was going to say, going back to your exercise, I can see Donna really enjoyed it quite a bit. So I'd love to hear how Donna felt about your exercise.
So while you were talking, I could feel this, almost like this squeezing in my chest.
Mm.
And as you started to talk about, like, see it, feel it, the color, it was very gray. And once I noticed it, it was like, it just was gone. It was the most amazing thing. So, yet normalizing that, like, you don't think to normalize fear or feel fear, because we were always told that fear is a bad thing. We should run. We're afraid we should run.
Right.
We're not supposed to sit with it.
Yeah, we've been brought up to believe we have to fight fear, because fear is something that will destroy us. So, of course, there's rational fear, right? And then there's this irrational fear. So that happens in the mind. We can decide, is this a rational fear or an irrational fear? And many of our limiting beliefs are just irrational, right? Because they're based on what has been shown us, as you said, Samantha, historically in the past. Traditions. So to overcome all of that, to feel empowered to do something different, there is a degree of fear. And so you can do hugely fearful things, or you can just take the baby steps. to get to your goal that don't feel so fearful that will paralyze you, but they feel a little bit scary, but you're okay with that because you can process your feelings, right? You can be with fear till it either evaporates, till it goes away, or till it becomes something that is just completely normal. Right? And so just to round off our second talking point here is that you can normalize the fear, and really, rationally speaking, the biggest risk you can take is to take no action. And also, can I just point out that I did a post for this workshop saying that like a desire plus a plan is belief. Like if there's something you want, you've got a plan to get it, then you can start believing it, right? The more you believe it, the more you feel inspired and the more you feel safe taking action towards it. If you don't have a plan, you just have a desire, well, then that's really only hope. So if you're sitting there with an idea, oh, I would want to do this for my retirement, or I want to do this in 5 years, I want to be here next year. Well, unless you've got a plan to get you there, it's really just wishful thinking. And there's nothing wrong with wishful thinking as long as you take it as inspiration. But just consider, what if I could actually make it happen? What if it was actually possible for me? So I hope that sums it up for you. Is there anything you want to add, Samantha, to that?
Absolutely. And that was a great, a great way to bring that point home. I think it's very important that we believe, number one, believe in ourselves and our ability to move through fear. And I know one of my greatest desires for women in particular, and especially us here, because we've showed up, is a belief that the financial goals, the financial freedom, and whatever that is to you, it is possible for you. And it is possible at any age and at any point that you start. And the most important thing is, and I think that's kind of sums up why Katrina and I are started chatting and had our desire to have this conversation today, was to transmit that belief that really all it takes is that little nudge of belief that it's possible for you, and then taking the next aligned step and making that happen. So absolutely.
And that is perfect introduction to our third talking point, isn't it? Because we're talking about implementing now, implementing your life vision and your wealth plan. So we talked about the conscious decisions that we take, that we make. I think you've got a few other questions you could ask yourself to get even clearer, haven't you, Samantha?
Yep, absolutely. So I'm going to do a little exercise as well, except I'm going to ask you if you have a pen and a piece of paper with you. So I'm gonna have you write down some questions. Perfect. Thank you, Peggy. Yep, everybody's almost ready. There's Donna. And write these questions down. And if you want to start thinking about it while you're writing these down, but definitely take these questions later, get yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee or something, and really start thinking about it, because these are great ways to start envisioning your life and where do you see yourself in the future, kind of like your plan, your vision for your life. So the first question is, and then these are all financially related, but they're also bigger than that. So what are your primary concerns when it comes to your money? What is it that brings you stress, concern, or is challenging you at this point when it comes to your money? Right? A lot of people say, well, I don't make enough, right? That's one example. Or, oh, thank you, Katrina. I feel like I don't know where my money is going. Those are some great examples of concerns that people have with their money. Okay. And what is, these concerns, these challenges you have, how are they holding you back? And by holding you back, what are they really costing you? And this could be in a real financial term, or it could be in a, you know, quality of life term. You know, are they causing you stress? Are they causing you not to sleep at night? Or is it really more quantitative? I know by not making a certain decision, you know, I'm, you know, wasting money, and you probably might not even know how much you're wasting on. And if you don't solve, so this is the next question, if you don't solve these challenges now, how can they negatively affect you and your future? You know, it could be, you know, certain, you know, you might have to postpone your retirement for 5-10 years, or you might have to scale back your retirement. All right, so now we'll talk a little bit about the fun stuff, right? So these are all the negative things that we have, that we personally experience or have associated with money. Hopefully these are not big for you. And so this is where I want you to dream, and dream big. I don't want you to think of anything that's, you know, realistic. I want you to be unrealistic, where this is, you get to paint this beautiful picture of your future life, and it could be whatever you want it to be. Okay. So if you could have anything you want in your life, what would it be? Right. So I've had people start off, well, I just want to make sure I pay off my house. Right. Was that really, are we all working 20, 30, 40, 50 years of our lives and saving so that we can just pay off our house? No, we want more than that. Maybe we want a vacation home. Maybe we want to have the freedom to go visit our grandkids whenever we want. Right. Maybe it's traveling the world. I mean, sometimes we hear people in retirement, all they want to do is travel the world. So let's all dream big. And again, today, right now might be just small little bullet points, but I want you to take it and really, you know, do what Katrina did. Just close your eyes and really dream away and write it down. What would you ultimately, what you want your life to look like? And it can be anything you want. On a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to making that picture a reality? So this goes back to, you know, facing those fears. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you will be able to reach that on your own? All right, these are some deep questions, but I think they will help you, and these will help you, you know, create that vision for your life. And obviously, if it's something that you really want to, that you feel like you're not in the place you want to be, but you're committed to working towards that goal. You know, please know I am here to help answer any questions and help you direct you in setting the next steps into reaching that goal. And we'll definitely open it up in a few minutes. We'll open it up for questions and other things, but I just wanted to make sure that you know that you are supported here.
And those are just brilliant questions. Like I love asking the question that you asked, Samantha, about if you could have anything you want in life, what would it be? And I like to ask it like, if you could have anything and there were no consequences, what would it be? Because sometimes we really hold ourselves back by thinking about, oh, what would so-and-so think if I had this? Or would these people still like me if I became this or that? And we've got all these conditions really on what we allow ourselves to dream of, because we think of the consequences, and we make up a lot about fearful consequences that might not even exist in real life. Like we won't know till we do it. So I think it's so good to take that without any consequences into the equation too, if that helps you. But maybe
even eliminating those limiting beliefs, because a lot of times what we tend to do is we make it realistic, and the reality is this is not the time to be realistic. This is the time to dream, because when we start, and I know you can speak to that even more, but when we have a vision, and it's this big dream of ours, this picture that we see ourselves, and I'll share with you, like for me, I remember when I first started thinking of the future. I was in my mid-20s, because I'm a planner. My grandmother lives deep, is in me, but I I used to think, oh, I want to retire at 55. That was my big dream, right? And then as I as working and doing all the what I considered at the time the right things, and then life starts taking you on different paths, and then you get married and you have children and whatever the path is, and then you start having, well, wait, I really would like to, I would like to have my children and have them pay for their college. So you start adding that, and then you have this overall vision of the things you want, and then you see things open up because you're preparing for them, and all of a sudden the picture gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And now I'm at the point where, yes, retirement at 55, some sort of retirement, but really the goal is I want to be able to go back to Italy and live 3 months there. And then I want to be able to follow my kids to, wherever they end up living, so I can help, with the grandkids. So the vision doesn't have to be here. It could be huge. And then you make it happen. You take the steps to make it happen and allow it to change along the way as well. And that's the exciting part about life.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And thank you for this inspiration. I think also, as you're dreaming on, like you're normalizing it again, that why can't I go and live 3 months in Italy? Why can't I follow my children around? Why can't I do it? I mean, you just normalize the idea. Oh, you said making it happen, but it's really just about believing, yeah, I can have that. So my dream is to live in a chateau. Chateau is just French for castle, but when I say castle, I see sort of a medieval thing. And what I want is one of the elegant 19th century ones. So that is my dream. And I could tell myself, oh, Katrina, that is so difficult. You won't. And I did for a long time. I had the belief that you had to be a princess to live in a castle, or you had to inherit it, or you had to be a billionaire, or I don't know. I didn't think you'd buy one, but as it turns out, you can buy one. So once you start getting curious, once you start really being so unrealistic, right, as you just said, Samantha, we just allow ourselves to dream again. And I think our dreams were really, well, many of us stop dreaming when we become adults, don't we? Because we are somehow taught that daydreaming is bad. Or I don't know what we got the wrong end of the stick, because dreams are what drive us, really. Everything starts with a dream.
Right. Well, and then even having, being excited about your future and dreaming towards something, empowers you. You have that emotional connection to that dream, and then for the work that you have, you have to do, you want to do, becomes less of a burden, right? When we know, okay, I am working my 40 hours, or I have a business and I want to grow the business. When you have that emotional connection and you know why you're doing it, you're more likely to want to do it.
Right. And that really brings us to our closing point, which is taking the aligned action. So many of my clients, when I take them through my life audit session, they find out, oh, this is what is important to me. This is what I really want in life. But there's nothing in my present life that reflects it. So we say one thing and then we do another one, right? There's no consistency between the two. And I think that's why we invented advisors and coaches, really. It's so that we stick to our decisions and we prioritize what is really important. And then we take the aligned action. Is there anything you want to say on that score, Samantha?
No, absolutely. I think, speaking to that is, having the vision. So finding someone in your corner, whatever that goal is, whether it's a financial goal like me or a life, life goal with Catherine is, creating that vision for yourself, getting the right information, and then having, somebody in your corner that's going to keep you, sticking to your plan, and staying on with your goals and helping you through the ups and downs of life. So absolutely.
Exactly. Because it's one thing having a plan or having a vision. Sometimes something happens, right? And we have to revise. And that's okay. That's just life. It doesn't mean there was anything wrong with your plan. It just means, oh, something else happened. And that's okay. So just to sum up, we've been talking about making conscious decisions in life and in your wealth planning instead of just following the default or the patterns that we've sort of fallen into. So making everything conscious and making sure it's in alignment with what you really want. So we can fall into limiting beliefs, and we can do that through a lack of knowing really what is possible. So it's so good to get the right information and then to get the right support. So work on your limiting beliefs. I like to think, let me look at what is possible and then find the evidence to support this belief. So I changed my limiting belief into, like, I had my limiting belief about being irresponsible with money. But when I look at my life, I've made some investments, I've bought houses. I mean, I've spent money, certainly, but I've got things to show for it. So I'm not irresponsible with money. So I go around finding evidence. If I can't find evidence with me, I look at Samantha. I look at somebody else who's done what it is I want to do. And then I can see, oh, it is possible. She has done it, right? Or he has done it. Let me do it. And then it's really just about taking the action we decided on consciously and then keeping at it, right? Anything you want to add to that, Samantha?
No, absolutely. That was perfect. I think it would be great. I'd love to hear other voices. How about we open it up for some questions?
Yeah, but before we do that, I just wanted to stress that you are available for advice, aren't you? And that you are willing to meet up with anybody who is following this workshop. So either anybody who's here live or if you're watching the replay, please go ahead and book a meeting with Samantha. Is there anything you want to add?
Absolutely. No, I thank you for that. And I will put my information in the chat, and I know you'll get that information as well as I follow up to our conversation.
Yes, so if you're watching the replay, the link to book a conversation with Samantha will be in the description box below. And I'd also be thrilled to invite you to a live audit session where we'll go into 4 areas of your life to find out what it is you really want without being realistic so that you get to live your dream life. So please go ahead and book a conversation with Samantha or book a live audit session with me, whether you're here live or on the replay. So as Samantha said, let's open it up. We've got wonderful people here, many of whom we know. Donna has got something she wants to add, so please go ahead.
So I don't have a question. I have a statement. Samantha is my financial advisor. And so the first question, primary concerns about money, I don't have any. Because I know that I am in excellent hands. Samantha and I have gone over this and what do I want and what does my future look like? And she and I have talked about this plan. And I know that I am headed in the right direction. So if anybody needs to know or wants to feel secure and safe, I suggest you have a conversation with Samantha.
Well, thank you, Donna. Thank you. And I think that was wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. The important part here is really to, as you meet with someone, and hopefully that person that speaks to you is either me on the financial side, on the life side with Catherine, is make sure you share what is it that you want in life? What are your goals? Because that is going to be key in putting you on the right path, and then keeping you there as life, moves us around and stresses us or challenges us in different ways. But the vision in your life and in your financial life is really the number one, is the starting point of everything.
And if I can just come back to what Donna also said, I think I heard her say that you needn't have a whole heap of money stacked away to consult with a wealth advisor. Am I right, Samantha?
Absolutely. At least not with me. I mean, there's the people that want to help people with money, right? And that's okay too. That's how they want to contribute to the world. For me, it's a little bit different. It's passion work. It's are you, wherever you are, I'm here to support you. The thing I look for the most is the dreamer that has big goals and the commitment, right? And they're willing to to take the steps to get them to that point. So whether you're a novice starting off and you just don't know, or you're further along the road and just this is not the expertise you want to have, because you have your own expertise, because we're all experts in our own fields, but you're looking for somebody that you trust and you want to help you get to your goals. I'm that person as well. So everybody's unique in their situation. Everybody's unique in how they want their their money invested, and so it's, the important thing is that you find somebody that you trust, and that you feel like you can share your your most intimate beliefs about money, and so that you can grow along with them.
Right. And I think really, if you're thinking, oh, I don't have enough money to consult with Samantha, well, maybe you just want to revise that plan, because maybe you just don't know, right? Maybe you just don't have all the info. So maybe you want to go along and play with the idea. Well, actually, perhaps I am the kind of person who could have a wealth planner in my life. So go ahead and play with that thought. Has anybody else got anything to share about life, or about money, or about planning for life, or planning for retirement?
Do what you want to do, because life's not a game. You don't get a second chance. You have to do what you want to do. And the only thing that you're ever going to regret is not doing it.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Those were wise words. And I think this idea of regret is really something that is central to my philosophy, is that when I get to the point where I'm going to lie down and die, I don't want to be thinking, oh, I never did this, I never got to do this. So, and I'd be really upset. I think we regret not doing things much more than the things we've done. So again, if you've got dreams, please filter them through your intellect to see whether they are irresponsible, whether they are not safe. But other than that, really,
Right. I wanted to add one more thing to Bodil's point. I think your point is great, but a lot of times, and this is where, Katrina, I think you can help, and maybe you can explain how people can, get in touch with you as well. If we knew how to do it, we would have done it already, right? There's so many things that, I'll share this. I see myself being a speaker, like to huge audiences, like where there's thousands of people. It's like, there's this deep desire for me to do that. Yet the fear is just, holds me back. I'm thinking, all my limiting beliefs. So, so I know in order to do that, I will need somebody to help me get there, because if I knew how to do it, I would have been there already. Right. So Katrine, how do we work with you? How do we overcome some of these things and, these goals that we have for our lives?
That's an excellent point, because I think we somehow believe that if I just do more of what I've been doing already, I will get there. But sometimes having a different strategy is actually what will get you there. And your example is just so brilliant because I think what is stopping us from doing what it is we really want is, in your example, Samantha, you could be thinking, oh, somebody has already done this. And I think we do that so often, like somebody has already done this, so who am I to do it too? Well, you're the person who's going to do it differently, and you're the one who's going to inspire other people. And I mean, in a village in France, there are usually 3 bakeries, right? And that's because there's a market for 3 bakeries, right? And whatever it is you want to do, there is a market for it. There is people, or there are people waiting for you to do what it is you want to do. So please get up the courage and take your first step. And it could be just booking a live audit session with me so that you get really crystal clear on what it is you really want, and then taking your first action step. What really holds us back is we like to think, oh, I need to know the first 10 action steps, right? I need to know the whole way to my dream. But we never do that. It's not possible, because once we take one step, new possibilities will be there and we have to choose. And then once we've chosen the next step, well, then there'll be other possibilities. So we cannot know how to get there till we are there. I don't know how I will get to live in my chateau till I live there, right? But I'm trying out the things. I'm taking the action. And if we can make it fun into the bargain world, then I think we're really there. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm just reading the yes. Okay, well, thank you for being here. So lovely to connect. Yes. Thank you for coming. Right. So yes, please go ahead, book a conversation either with Samantha or me, or why not both, so that you can take your next action step. I think that is really the most aligned action you can take today. And why not make it fun while you're at it?
Absolutely. That was wonderful.
So does anybody want to ask a question? Now we've got Samantha here, and there's me too. Any sort of question we could help you along with? Any comment? No, you're nodding your heads. Okay. So Donna, go ahead.
This was awesome. Thank you. That's my comment.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. It was so joyful to see you here. Anybody else wants to add anything? Otherwise, I shall go ahead and stop the recording.
No, well, just to say thank you, and I was just curious what it was all about. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I hope you got the information you were looking for, and I hope we managed to inspire you all. So thank you for having followed along. Let us know if you're watching the replay. You can always get in touch with us. In the description box below, there will be a link to Samantha's website. There will be a link to book a session with Samantha, and likewise for me. So thank you for following along. My name is Katrina Horn, and I'd love for you to reach out. Samantha, do you want to say goodbye too?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Katrine, for all of that information. And yes, please feel free to reach out, even if it's just you have some questions, you're not sure where you are and what you need to do next. So my information will be as Katrine described. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.